Also time. We are short on time because I know you're busy parents. You're home working still, or working, or you're sharing your lunchtime with me. So I appreciate that. So we're going to be tight on time, and I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, but I might not get through all of them, but I'll certainly answer them maybe in later videos or other sessions, other weeks that I'm running this. And lastly, anyone multitask? Hands up. Yeah, who doesn't multitask? Actually, us women apparently are supposed to be the masters of multitasking, but here's the rub. Actually, when you multitask, you don't fully focus on any one thing in particular. And because this is so short, I want you to keep focused and with me so you can learn as much as I'm about to share. And of course, the questions that some of you have asked. So stay focused, stay with me. Okay, all that out the way, I want to share a secret. The secret of confidence. Now, the secret of confidence is there is no one 100% confident 100% of the time. Doesn't matter what you've seen on social media, scrolling away, everyone's got this perfect life. Doesn't matter what you see from A to Z, listed celebrities and everything else. Confidence fluctuates. It goes up and down. So there's going to be some things that you feel super confident in. Same is true of your child or teenager. Something that they feel really, really good at or they're very familiar with. Put them in a different situation and you'll find their confidence drops almost immediately. You think back to something that you've had to do, whether that's at work or parenting or career or other stuff. You've been super confident in something and then all of a sudden you've had to do something new or get into a new job and immediately you feel your confidence drops. It's normal, it's natural. So I want to kind of normalize the fact that confidence is not always here. It actually goes up and down. But what's needed is the skills to be able to deal with that when there is a drop in confidence, so it doesn't become a bigger thing than it really needs to. So, what is confidence? Well, I believe that confidence is something, it's like the belief in yourself, the ability to be able to handle any situation or challenge with a sense of certainty, clarity, and confidence. And that's what confidence is all about. It's not something you do, it's something you are. You become more confident through different experiences and through the skills in order to help you with that. So that's what confidence really is. And many parents are concerned that actually when their child has been super confident in one thing, and then because of ages or stages, they find that their child's confidence has dropped. Anyone had that? Anyone experienced? So you've been through different things. I have it a lot where parents are saying to me, their child was 6, 7, 8. They used to be super confident and now all of a sudden you've noticed their smile has disappeared, their confidence is dropping, those kind of things. Well, ages and stages, different situations, friendships, experiences, all alter the level of confidence that we feel. I coach many young people who are highly academic, who are really good at sports, really good at music, even performing arts, drama and things like that. That is their thing. You'll probably have your thing as well. But then in a different situation, maybe putting up their hand to ask a question or going and approaching a new group of people to make friends with or be around, you notice immediately their confidence drops. Had any situations like that? Yeah, it's the natural ebb and flow of things. So what we want to do is actually understand that, yes, confidence goes up and down, but how with different skills we can deal with that. So here's a quick burst of reassurance. Just because your child or teenager drops in confidence or their confidence fluctuates is no reflection on you personally as a parent or your parenting style. Quite often you end up looking inwards and start thinking about what you've done or what you haven't done, what you've said and haven't said. But after your child goes to school, so around the ages of 4 or 5, then their influences change. You were the greatest influence in their life when they were at home with you. Their influences then start to change. And that's what can actually change the confidence, change their confidence levels, their self-belief, their ability to give things a go, almost have that perseverance and that resilience to keep going at something. They start becoming more self-conscious. They start feeling judged by other people, or thinking that other people are judging them. Anyone got a child or teen like that? It's a natural process that they go through. Now, an experience that your child or teen goes through is neither negative or positive at that exact point. It depends on what we think, how we deal with it, and then what we start to believe. So our mind, body, and emotions are all connected together. And so depending on how we think and what happens in that situation, then will determine whether it gets labeled as positive or negative. So at that actual point, it's neither. It's how we think, how we deal with it, and what we start to feel about it, maybe carrying it forward with us, that becomes a negative or positive experience. So what we want to understand is why children struggle in those areas. So have you ever heard your child or teenager in a situation when they're struggling, they're having a bit of difficulty with something? I'm rubbish. I can't do this. I'm trash. I'm bad at. Anyone had that? Yeah. Going on to you. How many times, whether it's out loud or in your head, have you said, oh, I can't do this. I'm rubbish. I'm this, I'm that. Almost labeling yourself negatively. Anyone done that? Yes, all the time. Okay. So we want to understand that actually with our mind, body, emotions connected together, we can understand why confidence starts to drop. So our mind is like a magnet. The more we think about negative or positive, the more we almost pull those experiences, all those thoughts towards us. Has any of you ever had or felt like you've had a bad day? Yeah, okay. So many times over this last bonkers 12 years, I should imagine. Congratulations to you for getting through the homeschooling, homeworking, and everything else. But yes, if we were to rewind to the beginning of that day, there would have been something, whether consciously or subconsciously, not looking forward to today, can't stand today, oh, it's another day, today is going to be a bad day, today is going to be an awful day, okay? Think back to the magnet. All of a sudden, you trip over the dog. Everyone drops breakfast on the floor. You're late to school. Homework is late. Massive emotional explosion, whatever else might be going on. It kind of stacks and stacks and stacks. So we want to be really careful of what we think, how we behave, in order to control how we feel. And your child or teen is the same. Now, many years ago, my husband taught martial arts. He had very successful martial art clubs, teaching thousands and thousands of students. And the reason I mention this is because quite recently I saw a brilliant quote from Bruce Lee. Obviously, famous martial artist. He's died young, but he was made famous through his martial art films. And here's the great quote. Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life. What you're not changing, you're also choosing. And I think that's a great opportunity, almost like a life lesson for us all. He is very philosophical, Bruce Lee, in terms of his quotes. And I think it's a great life lesson to understand that actually confidence is all connected with our thoughts, our body, our emotions. So I've got a little exercise for you. If you've seen me before, if you've been part of any coaching with your child or teenager, you may well have experienced this, but all I want you to do is clasp your hands together. You'll notice your thumbs will naturally cross over the top of the others. So one of your thumbs is going to be on top. It'll either be your right over your left or your left over your right. So whichever way it naturally falls, that's your natural way. Now, keeping your hands as they are, just swap your thumbs over. How odd does that feel? A few smiles going on. It feels a little bit uncomfortable, almost a bit random. So we're going to make that feel a little bit better. Keeping your hands as they are, All I want you to do is swap your thumbs backwards and forwards 21 times. Don't lose count. And when you've got to 21, go back to your first way, your natural way. And then finally go to your other way. How does it feel now? A little bit easier, a bit more comfortable, maybe less random than it did when you first tried. Good, release your hands. Now, of course, that doesn't mean to say we've got magic thumbs, but if you do any gaming with or texting with your child or teenager, sometimes you feel like you've got magic thumbs. What this really helps us to understand is the power and importance of repetition, of repeating something over and over. When we try something for the first time, it feels odd or strange or awkward, and your child or teenager is the same with their experiences. But then if they keep practicing and going through that new thing, then actually it feels more natural and more comfortable. You can have a bit of fun with them later on. Tell them or share with them about changing the hand that they clean their teeth with. So if they normally clean their teeth with their right, then change it to the left and the other way around. Now, the simple act of changing the toothbrush from one hand to the other, quite a simple thing to do. Not so simple when you're actually trying to do your teeth with the hand that feels very unusual or unfamiliar. And that's what happens with confidence. When we're put in a new situation or things that we don't know about, or we're learning new skills, then it feels like that's change of thumb. It feels strange and awkward. We want to go back to our comfort zone, and your child or teenager will be exactly the same. They don't want change, or they don't want to have to work for it. They want it just there and then. And that's where confidence drops, when we have things that we're unfamiliar with. So in order to help them become more confident in different things, then do mini challenges, little things that will help to alter their mindset so they don't get so fixed. Changing their toothbrush, the hand that they clean their teeth with. Changing the hand that you write with. Who writes with the right hand? Yeah? Ever done it with your left? Oh, it can get so messy unless you're ambidextrous. But try it with your child. You know, they have a bit of fun with them. So maybe they're getting a bit stuck with homework, or they're just getting a bit tired because, of course, they're only just going back to the sort of school routine. So it's very exhausting and tiring for them. Change the way they think about things. If they're getting stuck, well, how about you write it with your left hand or your right hand, depending on what isn't the natural hand. Get them to have some fun. And actually, the more fun we have, the more we realize that we can get through this. We can handle these challenges and deal with these problems. It's about our mindset that then, of course, our body reacts or responds to. And then, of course, the emotions develop from it. So going back to my example of an experience at that exact point is neither positive or negative. It's an experience. It's how we deal with it, how we think about it. And then, of course, whether we carry it with us negatively, that can cause greater issues with self-belief or lack of confidence as well. So hopefully that gives you a bit of fun to understand what confidence really is. And of course, how you can associate it to you. You know, we all need boosts of confidence from time to time. It's been a crazy year. So I have many parents that are saying to me, yeah, some of my confidence is lost, or I'm having to change career or upskill or, retrain in something. And of course, when it's something new, you feel your confidence drops and you almost have to start again. So some helpful tips for you. I'm now going to move on to some questions. I've had a couple of similar questions. Thank you for all your questions that you've submitted. So the similar question was all about how do I build confidence in my child, help to improve confidence, and how to improve confidence in self. Thank you to Nick, Shajila and Banchita for these. So my advice, start off small. Start off with something they can do. Start off building that belief and that reassurance in them. Ask them how it feels. So of course, they can then connect with, oh, actually, this feels okay. I'm okay with this. I can do it. And it's that level of I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, which then transforms and translates into things that they feel more difficult, rather than I'm bad at, I can't do it, I'm rubbish, and all the other negative communication that easily comes out. Remember, mind is like a magnet. So share with them, just as I've done with you today, share with them that confidence changes, it goes up and down. Help them to understand things that they feel really confident in. So it might be something to do with an academic subject. It might be maths or English or science or even sports. Or it could be a hobby or something that you know that they're really good at, or something really creative that often at school there is not as much time as there used to be for creativity, the creative imagination, the ability to express themselves in different ways other than the strong academic of maths, English and science. Feel that sometimes in your child's school? I know I've had a lot of parents that have mentioned that. It doesn't necessarily allow for that creativity. So get them into a stage of feeling good about themselves, recognizing the things that they can do well, but also recognizing that we all have strengths and weaknesses in different areas. So the more that we can actually push through the things that we find difficult, the greater our mental resilience and the greater our confidence overall. So you could make a list with them about all the things that they can do well or all the things that they just enjoy. Life is here to be enjoyed. And there's been a lot of stress and anxiety and everything else over this last 12 months. So we want to bring a bit more joy and relaxation to things. So get them to make a list of the things that they can do and that they're good at. And then get them to make a list of things that they would either like to achieve or finding a bit of a struggle. And then what you actually do is find the gap. Okay, what can they do? What help do they need? Can they give it a go and figure out what happens? So having that inner belief and confidence actually gives them the ability to go for it, to just get started, rather than expecting things to be perfect or, oh, I've got to be confident before I ... Ever had that? Or I'll be happy when ... happens. You've just got to get started. Children and teenagers are the same. And what this actually does is it gives them the opportunity to start with something they're familiar and confident with, and then be able to progress with being curious and finding out what they can and can't do, all the while you're reassuring them, give it a go, see what happens. And also sometimes sharing stories where perhaps you haven't had so much confidence. It's a really great way to normalize the fact that we all have ups and downs of confidence. Okay, and coming from you, their parent, that helps them to think, oh, okay, well, I can give this a go. I've got the reassurance of mum and dad, I can do this, and see what happens. So one of the questions, thank you to Sarah, was how to find the balance of encouraging a teen or maybe an older child to do something out of their comfort zone. So our comfort zone was the natural way of our thumbs. The uncomfortable zone is, of course, that new way. Well, it's all about gaining the reassurance and confidence in things that they can do, that they feel comfortable in. So start there. Start with things that they're comfortable with. Now, maybe for older children or teenagers, it's maybe that you want them to become more independent in a shop. That's the traditional way. Maybe sort of pay for something or start packing the bags, or maybe even chat with the cashier. So where possible, shop with them and almost show them how to do it. So they take the role from you, such as you speak to the cashier, you chat away whilst you're packing the bags. Then, of course, you pay. And maybe your child or teenager could take the receipt, depending on where they're shopping and where you're shopping. What that will help to do is generate that natural, oh, that's what we do. So they become more socially confident. They become more comfortable in situations around you, which then, of course, when they grow, develop and get older, it will become a natural process that they do, rather than this big, overwhelming process that they can often go through in social situations. So start off small, encourage them, but then also recognize if there's any panic moments. Be able to talk to them about it. Did you notice they were nervous or that they felt uncomfortable? And then speak to them about it, reassure them, help them understand that there's ups and downs in life, there's ups and downs of emotions. We quite often feel nervous or unsure in certain social situations. So that can be really helpful. Start off small, start off something that they're familiar with, and then progress from there. Now, there's been a couple of questions on social confidence. Thanks to Nosheen and Sadie. And this social confidence has become a really big thing over the last few years, probably around 3-4 years. I've noticed a massive increase in parents inquiring about the one-to-one coaching, and also the best-selling course they run, all about social confidence. So I thought it would be good just to cover it generally, because social confidence is kind of, well, the traditional communication, should we say, has been diminishing. And it's not just over the last 12 months where we've been hugely restricted. It's actually been happening way before that. Now, part of the reason is because we're much more used to communicating like that, yes? Or like that. Children are becoming conditioned the same, obviously not very young children, but older children and teens. No judgment here, but sometimes parents find that they're texting their child to come down for dinner. Ever done that? Yeah, it happens. You might even be texting in the same room. No judgment, it's just what happens. But actually what that's doing is conditioning them to be more comfortable on screen than actually the traditional communication, conversations with other people. Which means when they're in group situations or they're around their peers, they really struggle to know what to say, to make eye contact, body language, all the kind of traditional communication skills that we're all generally taught. So a couple of things about social confidence. One of the biggest things is where a child doesn't necessarily know where to start a conversation. So questions are a great way to start any conversation. You think about the friends that your child or teenager has now. How did they find out their name? Well, they either asked or somebody told them. Either way, there was an exchange of conversation. So questions are a great way to be able to understand how to start a conversation. So your child or teenager struggling to speak to people at school. And because we've been in these large restrictions, those that have struggled with social confidence, of course, are having a bigger issue with it because they've been so comfortable at home and around you and very safe and not having to make any effort. So one of the things, questions. On a Monday, what did you do at the weekend? On a Friday, what are you doing at the weekend? Making more of an effort with the person that they're sitting next to or near to, depending on their class format. Questions are a great way to start any kind of conversation. So something you can practice at home with your child or teenager is asking them questions and getting them to ask you back. But not just the closed questions, yes, no, type things that some children then give, more trying to stretch out the answers. So you might encourage around family dinner times to have a conversation about their day, share something, rather than, it's all right, get them to stretch out the answer. Think about it from your point of view. If they were you, how would it come across? Would it be very closed, like they can't be bothered to speak or they don't want to get involved? Or would it be more open? And being able to practice these things at home really helps, that they've actually become conditioned to be able to then move into things at school, giving things a go, having the confidence to just get started and see how it feels. Yeah, it's going to feel a bit awkward. It feels a bit messy. When I was younger, I used to go bright red. So everyone knew exactly how I was feeling. And then, of course, I became conditioned that I was going bright red and then my eyes would water. So just a complete mess. But I worked through it. I kept going and kept persevering. And actually, that flushing just doesn't happen anymore. But it takes time. But it's about getting started. And this is a great way for your child or teen too. You can help them, ask them questions, they get to ask you questions, and actually it becomes just a normal way of life. I find from my one-to-one coaching with the social confidence, around session 4, young people are then going into other groups, or they're going around to their neighbours and asking if they want to come out to play. Lots of different things that they never did before because they didn't have the skills or the ability to know how to do it. So questions is a great way. Now, how many of you have been nervous in a situation socially, and you've been speaking to someone, you've maybe asked them a question, or some other exchanges going on, and then all of a sudden you get so caught up with, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And you don't actually listen. Ever been in that situation? I know I have many times. Yes. So you're so conscious of what you're going to say next that actually you don't listen fully to what that person is saying, maybe miss bits of information, or it comes across a little bit stilted in the conversation. So again, teaching your child to listen to those answers when they've asked a question can be really helpful to pick up those gems of things to keep that conversation going. Because of course, that's one of the other things. Well, I know how to say hi, or how are you, or things like that. But how do I keep the conversation going? And that can be a great way. Ask a question, listen, because of course that listening will give greater information in order to keep that conversation going. And another topic of conversation that any child likes speaking about is food. So you may well have heard me ask this question before. Great question to start a conversation, and also a topic that allows somebody to express themselves. Should pineapple be on pizza? Yes or no? Give me your answers. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now, yeah. Now I'm definitely a no, because I think that savory and sweet should be completely separate. But can you understand how that naturally, I mean, who doesn't like talking about food? How that naturally then brings across, like, oh, well, I like this, and oh, I don't like that. It brings up a discussion that is a great way to allow that confidence in a conversation. So a few things for you there. Start small, build their confidence in those things in an environment where they feel that they can practice, and it doesn't matter what other people are thinking, because you're there for them, you're providing reassurance. And then start adding and introducing different things. But quite quickly you would find that on some areas they might be more forthcoming. They might think, oh, I'm just going to give it a go, because you've started to develop that process. And it's all about teaching skills. So I hope you found that really helpful. Of course, there are still other ways that I can help. You may well have seen that one-to-one coaching is really helpful. That's the highly effective, practical one-to-one coaching that I do with your child. And that helps to develop the skills that they really need. So the specifics and examples that they're going through in order to build those skills. And it's not just confidence. Emotional resilience is another big thing for young people. How to deal with disappointments, how to overcome making mistakes, how to actually persevere through something rather than quickly giving up. So one-to-one coaching is a great way, and there is, you'll find lots of reviews on our Trustpilot, but a helpful review of a dad of an 11-year-old who recently had some one-to-one coaching with me. We have tried a number of psychologists, he said, to help our son with confidence and the anxiety issues that he was facing, but Annette is the only one that has made a real difference. So I'm very humbled with that. There's lots more that you can read, all about how the progress has actually helped their child or teenager to move forward beyond their challenge or their problem, to flourish, to bring their smile back, and to feel better equipped for whatever life throws at them. And also, just keeping on the theme of social confidence, I have my best-selling live group course. This is via Zoom, so a bit similar to this. You probably get an idea of how I coach and how I am on screen, quite animated, but it connects with people, it connects with young people, and I get the best out of them. So it's a 4-week course covering all sorts of different things around social confidence. So they learn the skills, and then they can practice it in that safe, reassuring group environment to be able to flourish, and then use it in their everyday school and home life. So I hope you've enjoyed our time with us. Thank you very much for sharing your lunchtime with me today. Do get in touch. You can email me, you can text, or of course, use the website and the form on there if I can be of any help. Thanks ever so much. Next week, same time, you're more than welcome to join on. Next week, I'll be covering all about childhood or child anxiety, particularly in boys. So you may well have seen the documentary that Roman Kemp made. I think that was aired yesterday. It's becoming a big thing and a big topic for boys in particular to help with their anxiety. So some great help on that. And of course, I'll be answering your questions and others that will be joining us. So thank you very much. Lovely to see you all. Hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.